Hi, welcome to my channel. This is a video based on specific person manifestation and there being no need to change an assumption or even a belief about someone. I'm going to explain why and how this lovely lady that emailed me is not a coaching client, just watched a few of my videos and then emailed me her success story, which was amazing, and given me permission to, well, asked me to put it up on YouTube. So that is what I'm doing. Generally, most of my success stories go up on my members area because I don't want to make this a channel about success stories. But as she asked me to do that, and I think it'll be so useful, this one, I'm going to start off by saying this. You are not changing anyone. You are not changing this reality. You are experiencing a new reality. Therefore, you do not need to change an assumption or a belief about this person, because this person you can accept is this way. You can accept that they're stubborn. You can accept that they don't reach out first. You can accept that they're thoughtless, they don't care, all of that. Just accept it. And this is why. It's just this version of them. And by doing that and just accepting this version of them, you can then move to the version you want to experience. You can say, I accept this. I accept in this 3D reality right now, this person is this way. Okay, but I'm going to let that version go. So you don't try and change it. You go, I'm just going to, and when I tell you this story, you will really get it. So that's what you're doing. You're focusing on what you do want. You are not giving any focus to this reality that you don't want. You're rejecting this one and you're going to move into a reality where everything is different based on the fact that you stop going back to the old story. You must do that because the old story is energy. So you're living in the energy of what you don't want then. So you don't do that. You decide the only energy you're going to live in is the energy of what you do want. And whether you get it or not, you've got to drop the expectation. I might as well do it. And this was what she did. I might as well do it because I feel crap living in this energy. I am going to shift. So basically she saw one of my videos that said, select the reality that you want and reject the one that you don't want. And that resonated with her. She had spent a whole year trying to change assumptions to the point where she thought, I must have changed it now. And that's what I get a lot. The mind goes, well, you've done it for all this time. Of course you've changed it. And then she saw a video of mine that said, so before I say this, she was then thinking she had changed it. So going around thinking, oh, this is going to happen now. This is going to happen now. I'm sure it'll happen at some point because this is definitely him now. And then she saw evidence to the contrary, completely to the contrary, opposite of what she wanted. And she was really deflated. And then she saw my video that said, you can't think them different. You can only feel them different. And she said, in that moment, I realized I felt him as exactly the same character that he'd always been. I hadn't changed anything. And she said it was like a eureka moment. I thought, oh my God, all of that hard work for nothing. It's never for nothing because it teaches you something along the way. So she said she embarked on this challenge to herself. She saw it as a challenge to change that, to stop going to the old story, to realize that the old story was only what was holding her here, was her dominance on the old story and why he's like this. And then watching videos on avoidance a lot and things like that, rational videos, which is fine, but not when you're into this, it's not. Because if you then label somebody an avoidant, then you've then got that label and you're trying to change that and it just doesn't work. So she was doing things like that. So she stopped all of that. She stopped looking at social media really that much. She stopped posting on social media and she stopped looking on social media. So she took some radical action or outside action and radical inside by stopping trying to change the assumptions. And she said, it was such a relief to accept him exactly as he was in this reality, but to reject that reality, but to accept that that's the way he was. She said, because there was just something in that, and it was just she said, I felt like a weight had lifted, and then I decided what I wanted, an effortless relationship, just effortless, a relationship with him, but for it to be effortless, because she said it had never been effortless. It had always been hard work and she was always putting in more than she was getting out. And it's just like, never do that. Never give more than you get. And that sounds really mercenary, doesn't it? But just don't, because when you do that, the other person just gets complacent. They just don't bother trying because they don't need to. And they may not even know that they're not making an effort, but that's what happens. So, mirror, whatever you get, just mirror it. Anyway, So she decided, I just want an effortless relationship with him. Bear in mind, at this point, she hadn't heard from him for 8 months. And before that, she'd had a bit of contact, but it was really hot and cold and it didn't come to anything. So as these things don't when you're in that state. And then she'd seen this evidence to the contrary. So she just said, okay, this is what I want. I want it to be effortless. She said she could really feel that inside, like, yeah, I want an effortless relationship. And she said it felt really clear, like, why did I not think of that intention before? She said, I've never had that intention before, but that was exactly what I wanted. It just kind of hit me. I just want this to be effortless. So then she wouldn't keep telling herself a story about how they got back together or anything like that. She would just feel that effortless relationship. So when she thought about him, she would she would tap into an energy of an effortless relationship. She would just feel it, think the words effortless relationship, and just pull herself back there every time. So here was her, how it went for her. So she said the first month she did still look for it slightly, but then she noticed she wasn't really looking for it. But she noticed her level of attachment was really reduced. And she said she thought she was at about 25-30% attachment, which is fine. It really doesn't matter. We've all got some attachment when we really want something. And so she said she would go hours and then realise that she hadn't thought about him for hours, like really hadn't thought about him, like he didn't exist in that time. She'd been engrossed in something which she hadn't done ever since the start of their sort of on-off relationship, and all of this time with no contact. She'd never really gone any time without him in her conscious awareness. So she realised that naturally she started to detach. And this is my explanation of this, and I don't know if I'm right, but I think I am. So you do this, and you keep going to what you do want. So you go to the outcome you want and you feel it. And every time you do it, your subconscious takes that as an instruction. It takes that as real life. It doesn't know that it's just a feeling for something in the future. It's just a feeling. It's just an energy. So it takes it and it takes it until eventually it starts to think that's what your reality is. Hence, you start detaching because your subconscious thinks that that's going on anyway. So you just, all of that stuff isn't in your head as much. You're just getting on with your life way, way more. And then we'll cut a very long story short. So 3 months after she started doing it, it's really useful for me to have a timeline so that I can pass that on to you guys. 3 months after, she gets a text from him out of the blue, and she said it was the longest text ever. She said longer than any text I would ever send to anyone. And like his texting, usually the last character would send like 2 sentences, no more than that. She said it was so long, and he just explained everything, how he'd been feeling, how he'd been thinking about her, how he'd been missing her, how he'd been talking himself out of contacting her. And I said that this happens all of the time, where people don't get contacted based on their own attachment, not based on the fact that the person's not thinking about you. So all of this was spilling out of him. She said, and I kept reading it and reading it. She said, thinking, oh my God, like how the hell is this possible? But then she said, wow, it's effortless, isn't it? You know, he's effortlessly typed me out this text. And then she sort of went internal. She said, I thought, that's how I feel him now. That is how I feel him. And my response to her, after thanking her for sending me a story, was to say, don't try and control it now. Anyway, just don't. Just get on with it now. Pretend you don't know anything about manifestation. Just live it. Have this relationship for whatever, take this relationship for whatever it is in the moment. Enjoy it. Don't try to control it, because it will all go horribly wrong, because every time we try and control, we lose control. The opposite happens. We cannot control it, these things. So just enjoy it and just go, do you know what? I've done this. How amazing am I? How magic is it that I have shifted into a reality where he's behaving like this, just as I imagined, completely. It's completely effortless. And she said, so it's been a few weeks now, and it is completely effortless. She said, I will text him whenever I feel like it. I don't care if I double text him or anything like that. I just don't care. I'm just doing what I want to do and thinking, well, if this works, brilliant. If it doesn't, I just kind of know my own power now. I could either do it again, bring it back again, or I could go somewhere else, So she said she just feels really empowered. But at the moment, a few weeks in, it is completely effortless. She said, if I could put a label on the relationship, as I tell people to do, it would be effortless relationship. So as long as it is, I'm just going to enjoy it. And she is enjoying it. So she said that she'll keep me updated, and I can come and post an update here when that will be. So she said she'll wait a couple of months and see what happens, and then come back to me again. So I will post that update. I know I don't kind of harass people, so if I don't hear from her, I don't hear from her. I won't message her and say, oh, I haven't heard from you. I just leave it to the person to do that. I don't want to be pushy like that. But so we'll see. So hopefully, watch this space and we'll see what happens. Whatever happens, And if she does come back to me, then I can give you an update regardless and sort of say, this happened and that happened, and then she felt like this and then she felt like that. You know, it's just useful, isn't it? Whatever the outcome is, really, it's all useful stuff. So I hope that this was helpful to you. I hope this gives you some motivation and some encouragement. It is about persisting, and I am not one for persisting in a manifestation, okay? She wasn't doing that. She was persisting in she wanted it, so she wanted to do something. She was persisting in not allowing herself to keep dwelling in the old story and to just feel effortless relationship. That is persisting, but it's dead easy, isn't it? It's not affirming, it's not doing anything else. It's not hard work, it's not a chore, it's just bringing yourself to a new energy in the knowledge that actually at some point that's got to show, and just be persisting in not allowing yourself to dwell in a story, not allowing yourself to rationalize what you can see now and solidify it by going, well, yeah, but it's like this because it's just like this because of what you're like. So what's going on with you, you're seeing in your 3D reality. It's a reflection of your subconscious mind, I believe. It is. So if you can look at it like that, when your subconscious mind changes, and it will change because it has to, because that is the way the algorithm works. The algorithm of life, that's how I see it. It's just one massive algorithm. I sometimes, and this is naughty really, Jeremy hates it when I talk about this being a simulation, and I don't know whether it is or not. I'm 50-50, it could be, might be, might not. And I do watch this one particular channel that I love because he's just so great, the guy. He's just... he's really done amazing stuff with this and thinking of it as a simulation, but he kind of talks about it the same way as I do, but to him he calls it a simulation. So if I'm in a bit of a mood where I just want to wind Jeremy up, I will talk about that. He'll just get really annoyed. And then he says, so you would rather just be a bit of code then, would you, than a physical human being? I went, well, I don't care. I don't care if I'm a bit of code or I'm a physical human being. What difference does it make? Really, everything's code, isn't it, really? I couldn't care less. Don't make any difference, does it? I am what I am, regardless of how I'm made, you know, and I'm at how I actually am, you know. It doesn't matter to me, it doesn't make any difference. But I went out for lunch with my son Harry yesterday, Harrison, and we have great philosophical conversations about, and he sees things differently than me now, but he's really open to my point of view, and I like listening to what he thinks, and we just have really great discussions about it. And I was talking to him about it being a simulation. He's kind of open to that. He goes, well, it could be, you know, yeah, it definitely could be. It's probably not, but it could be, you know, we'll never know. We'll probably never know. And he said, and maybe we should never know, you know, really, we're not able to cope with knowing that. But again, with me, I love the mystery of it all. I don't need to know what it is. I do talk to people that need to know, but I say to them, why? You will never know. And if you get taken over by the need to know, then you won't be able to make this work for you, because that will become your thing. You'll become obsessed with it. And imagine if it is a simulation. We've probably been programmed to never find out, so you will absolutely never find out. It isn't worth, just isn't worth giving any of your energy to. Anyway, I am digressing from what this video was about. If you don't know anything about me, I'm an author. I'm a mindset and self-concept coach primarily, but I also coach in manifestation as well.